Hello everyone, Eric with OzoneTCG, and today we are taking a look at the new Pyramid Harbingers mat. So we'll go ahead and show some of the details on screen right now, including the stats for this. I have one of the exclusive ones. Let me go ahead and pull up the information, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk about my experience with these mats so far. These are brand new. I just got these in from UPS. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at them. I have both the Harbingers of the Abyss Experimental Shadowfax Cross Infernal Twilight. That's one of them. The other one is the, again, Harbingers of the Abyss Deluxe LE Suede 2.0 Cross the Heart of Darkness. So one of them's a dark, I think it's dark red. Yeah, it's a black background with red ink. And the other one is, you guys will see, it's like a cross weave plus a red, purplish, bluish, indigo gradient. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. Again, I haven't opened these, seen these at all. The experimental one, only 30 were produced. Excuse me, only 13 were produced. I was able to get one of them, luckily enough. And then I have another, apparently special edition mat coming in. We'll go ahead and review that once it comes in. But for right now, I guess all the pyramid mats are going to be shipped in these cinch bags. Japanese style cinch bags. I really like them. I have a black one from the original when they first started doing this because of supply issues with this. I actually really like the colors. Really like this neon green, and I really like this kind of reddish, almost maroon color. I have another one of the neon green ones, and again, I have the original one as original black as well. So let's go ahead and see. I don't know which one is which. Okay, so this is, we'll go ahead and start with this one. This is the Heart of Darkness one. Let's see this one. So sheet showing all of this. Yep. And I don't think either of these can be gacha because the experimental one again is super exclusive. Only 13 made. Very lucky I was able to get one. I wanted one of the experimental ones. I did not want to spend the money, but in the end it is definitely worth it. So right off the bat, the ink looks very nice. There is some cracking, which is to be expected with the ink laid on top. It is not a digital print. There is actual ink, placed onto the item, onto the cloth here. Let's go ahead and unwrap these. So again, here's the card. You always get this with any of your pyramid mat purchases. I love collecting the cards, even if I don't ever do anything with them. They're just cool. They're really well made. And so this is the design. So this is actually upside down from your perspective. This is extremely soft. I really like this fabric. I prefer to have a very soft fabric that makes cards easy to glide with. Let's go ahead and take some Pokemon cards. I don't play Pokemon on this mat. I will not play it on this mat. I will use this probably as a display piece for Burning Abyss. Already just from the test, it's very nice. The corners actually don't really catch at all, which is a difference from previous times where corners tend to catch on the ink, kind of like this right here. That's not really what's happening right here. Let's go ahead and see this a little more. Looks like one of them caught around here and pushed some of the sleeves up here. We'll do some more tests and then I'll unfold the rest of the item. Again, the art, as always, is fantastic. Taylor did the art for this as well as the 9. Absolutely fantastic artist. Love seeing their work on Discord. Absolutely love the art for both these mats. It honestly just made me really like these mats even more. Burning Abyss is one of my favorite themes. Easily top 3, I would say. At least top 5 in the entire game. I love it. I have a hollowed out max rarity version of the deck. I don't think I would ever play another deck on here, though. Maybe on this black one, but not on the experimental one if I ever use the experimental one. So this looks really nice. I mean, this is already feeling fantastic. I can't get enough of this. I don't even know, the Heart of Darkness, the Suede 2.0. That's right. This is really, really nice. So this feels very much luxurious, and that's what the LE stands for, is Luxury Edition now. So that's what that'll be moving forward. That's what it sounds like. Or that's what it is. And then, of course, even the ink, when you rub your hands across here, it doesn't catch. So some of the other mats the ink catches on here, or it's, kind of slows your hand down a little bit more. But here it feels still very smooth. It doesn't really take away from the texture of the suede surface whatsoever. And, of course, the fantastic Farfa art and Karubini art on the up here on the other side. So if you guys have this, of course, as always, this So let's take this out and then kind of see the other side. There we go. Look at that. There we go. And even if there's a lot of ink, say, right here, it doesn't really take away from the feel. You can still feel the ink, the difference between the ink and the suede, but it's placed in such a way that it's not... so, to be technical with it, it's because all of these are basically stroke lines. Wherever there's empty space, all the black part, it compensates for the ink being placed on here. So it still feels extremely smooth. Again, a little bit rougher, but it's more like almost like a sandpaper feeling, but not a coarse sandpaper feeling. It's a very fine sandpaper feeling, which is really cool. I really actually like this. And normally I don't like the ink catching onto corners, edges like that, taking away from the feel. But yes, this is very much luxury edition if you guys are interested in these deluxe suede 2.0 field cloths. I really like the way this is. This is fantastic work. And this is one of the more affordable ones at $75 at the time of recording. I don't think they really increased their prices at all, too, which is really nice. But enough of this one. We'll go ahead and take a look and put this in the bag, and then we'll take a look at the next one. So this is one I'm more curious about. The Shadowfax Cross Infernal Twilight. I'm really curious. This one, off the bat, just... looks really cool, actually. This looks like an old school Spellground. Actually, I can go grab one in a second, but this feels more like almost like a sock texture. That sounds weird, I know, just but it feels like a crew sock, and it's not bad at all. It's really soft. It's nice, soft, and fuzzy. But this definitely feels a lot like an old school Spellground. So if you like old school Spellgrounds, this you will love. Looks exactly like it with between the colors, between the backing. I mean, just look at the backing. This is literally like the old school Spellground stuff. Maybe a little bit coarser, but it will keep your cards, keep the mat definitely secured. Now, I have a wooden desk that I have oiled down, so everything's gonna slide on here regardless, unless it's like a neoprene, whatever it's called, the mouse pad. But for the rest of this, you can see, the art up here, again, Farfa again. The ink you can feel a lot more, and it's a lot more coarse than the other kind. But again, it is not a bad feeling whatsoever, and honestly, the whole thing, again, feels just like an old Spellground. I could see this lasting easily 25 years, assuming that, the threads are placed properly, which neither of these have any thread issues whatsoever. There's a loose thread over on this end, but that obviously doesn't take away from the entire thing, so that's probably where they cut off some of these mats when they were sewing the sides originally. But otherwise, this is incredible. I'm not one usually for experimental mats. I will probably end up trying this out just to play on it. I'm definitely not ever going to get rid of this. I think this is just too unique, too scarce to really want to move at all. I'm curious to see how the ink kind of works with this, though. I'm going to try it with my Pokemon cards. Again, Dragon Shield dual matte sleeves, the Glacier color right here. This is for my Lost Zone deck. We're going to go ahead and do some slide tests. So it slides off immediately, and then do some corner tests. So no, the ink is extremely resilient. Let me go ahead and say that right here. Even if your cards catch on here, you're more likely to have the corner of the sleeve be damaged than the ink. This ink is like cement. This is a much coarser kind of ink. Definitely will hold properly. It almost feels like it's burnt onto it, almost like you're sticking some kind of clothing iron onto here, and it just makes a very light indent into everything. Really, really unique. And again, there's some sparkles here too within the ink, and it just ties everything together quite nicely, especially the difference between the indigo and red colors, kind of the colors that Dante has with the indigo colors and the red colors for the Malabranc. Really, really cool. Let's do some more slide tests here. So these aren't actually going to... I mean, they immediately slide. Again, these are really good. This Shadowfax, this is really nice for card grip. Your cards really aren't going to move too much. It feels just like an old school Spellground. So again, if you like those, you want a more affordable option, use something like this. Honestly, this is really, really cool. Maybe not this version, obviously, because it's too very, very rare and hard to find now. Completely sold out at time of recording. But eventually, if they make this a mainline, again, I almost like this more than the soft stuff, but I will say that I do like the other one a little bit more, just because of my preferences. Again, if you like, you know, the old school Spellgrounds, I can't say this enough. Seriously, this is really nice. Look at Dragon Shields right there. We're gonna try some Ultra Pros right now too with my tier limit, Danger tier limit deck. We'll go ahead and see how this compares to the Dragon Shield ones, of course. Some of these here, and again, Ultra Pro. You can see the little sticker down here. So do some sliding. Slides very nicely, and I'm sure Dragon Shields would do even better for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Saw that with Pokemon, but yeah, these slide very nicely. Wow, I'm actually impressed. Corners aren't catching whatsoever. I'm going to apply some downward force and downward pressure onto the corners here. You guys can kind of see it right here. So while I move the sleeves over with one hand onto here, kind of pushing on. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of pushback from the ink, but really hard to do that on the actual, you know, black part of the Shadowfax part of the mat. I really like the way this feels. So definitely does well with this janky slide test, anything like that. You obviously can't go like that with the back of your sleeves. Maybe your front. I don't know. Let's test that. So you can't really do. Your cards aren't going to spill everywhere. Which, if you want some good directional grip for your cards, this is a really nice fabric to use. I'm sure the kind of, again, sock-like texture feels almost like a corduroy sweater. That's probably a better way to put it on. You know, to be honest. Again, I really like the way this feels. I will test this specific one out because I know I'm just going to like the other one a bunch. But just to see how these kind of work, let's go ahead and do a comparison between this and a couple of the old Spellgrounds and one of the 2020 versions. Let's move this out of the way. So we have some Spellgrounds. So this one is the newer version, and this one is the older version. We're going to do the newer one first. This came out in 2020. This is a V7 laser cut. Again, has the stitch edges, and it has the pretty standard backing. So this has more of a suede feel, kind of like the other Harbingers mat, the Heart of Darkness. We'll compare it. So has the newer form, newer backing. This is like MetaMats, very similar fabric, but they aren't nearly as comparable. Heart of Darkness definitely feels very close to this. This feels like Heart of Darkness, anything like that. They are probably both suede or variant of that. And this, of course, has the printed in ink. Definitely would choose the actually, I don't know. I may end up choosing this one to use if I wanted to use it for actual play. But for design, obviously, I'm always going to go with Harbingers. Harbingers, I'm such a fan of the art. I can't get enough of the art, honestly. I want these on posters. I would love to see all of this art put somewhere. Same with the Power 9 mat from Pvramid. I would love to see that as a poster. Let's go ahead and compare this one now. Get this out of here. So this one is a Spellground. I don't remember which version. I think it's a V6 or V5. I'm not sure. It's from 2016. So this is the most comparable kind of material. So you guys can see the back. This is not stitched at all. This was before stitching became mainstream and when cloth mats were still considered to be a relative luxury in 2016. How far we've come, honestly, since then. But very similar backing. Again, I think this one definitely takes the cake for directional grip because this is just kind of a basic fabric. This definitely curated to the Pvramid brand. Let's take a look at the front. And I've actually never used this one in person. Again, this has the very similar kind of ink printing processes. I think, I'm not sure if it's sublimation or dye. I don't know what each of them are, but these are extremely similar right here. You can see one of them makes more of a directional print in person. You guys really can't see it on camera, but the gray Spellground tends to have more of, whenever you move your finger across, it will move the fabric the opposite way, so towards the direction. But let's go ahead and see. Definitely a very similar slide feel. So there's that. I think the cards slide better on the Spellground. Let's go ahead and see. But the ink on the Pvramid mat tend to not be. The ink doesn't really catch your cards as much as this older Spellground, and the reason is because the older Spellground is using older versions of the of the ink process. It's also 6 years old at this point, so I'm really not surprised. The ink will hold. That's not a problem whatsoever on Spellgrounds. It is just whether or not you want to kind of harden a little bit. It does get a little bit coarse, but it's part of the appeal. Eventually it'll rub away, and then just the very soft parts of the mat will stay after about 15 or 20 years. And that's what we see in Spellground 94s and through 97s. Spellground just released a version of a website that archives a bunch of old designs of theirs. But Pvramid, I think these are going to stay for a while. Honestly, if I had to choose, though, I would definitely go with Pvramid. Even besides the art, just for material and build quality, Pvramid right now is feeling way better than all the old school Spellgrounds, all the older Spellgrounds from a couple years ago and before. I would definitely choose the new Pvramid mats. Pvramid has done a very good job at making sure that stats are established, that you can see, hey, what kind of mat am I getting? What am I purchasing, rather than just some kind of fabric that I've never been able to see anything like that before. The stats aren't always going to be 100% accurate, because obviously there's a lot of leniency and subjectivity when designing these, but definitely like the way this feels. Again, I would choose for softness, I think the Spellground is just a little bit softer for this variant. Obviously the Suede, unbeatable, 11 out of 10 for softness and ink, the ink quality and lack of cracking on this one, but there's some cracking on the other one, again, to be expected with softer material. That tends to be the balance. So usually if you have a softer fabric, from my experience, the ink tends to crack a lot more because the softer fabrics tend to have a lot more fibers built into them, and that's what makes partially, as well as material and build quality, is how softness is determined. Whether if you have a kind of a coarser mat, a little bit like this, or a Spellground, your ink isn't going to crack nearly as much because there are less fibers. Again, I don't know if that's the actual reasoning, but just from my experience, that tends to be how it is. I really like these mats. I cannot wait to test these, use these at locals, anything like that. I'm going to probably use this one for Pokemon locals at some point, or Yu-Gi-Oh locals. We'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think about these. If you guys see these at all, always feel free to send us images of them on Facebook, Twitter, anything like that, YouTube comments. Really would like to see you guys using these. This is really, really cool. Again, shuffle feel on here, sliding it around, shuffling the cards around, still feels fantastic. Pvramid has done a wonderful job with these, and we're going to see a lot more of these materials on mats moving forward. Thank you for watching, guys.